Danielle, sure appreciate you visiting with the people online here to go over the Rob Brooks Realty application process. And you're the queen. You're the queen of the application process, and so you know it all. So let's talk first with how they get here, and it starts with the advertising, right? So tell us a little bit about the advertising that we put out.
Sure. So we do a couple of things. We have a professional photographer that goes through and takes pictures of all the properties and the rooms, outside, inside, everything like that, to show on our MLS listing that goes out to all the other websites.
Right.
We also do a 3D virtual tour, so they can kind of immerse themselves in and walk through the house that way, as well as a video walkthrough tour of somebody basically just walking around with a camera and showing what each room looks like.
Right. Okay. So all of that is done by a pro, someone who knows what they're doing with the camera. And so 3D tours have become more important in recent months or years. Tell us about
definitely,
that.
especially since COVID. There's not as many people that want to physically enter a property and walk with somebody they don't know,
right.
Or a crowd. If it was like an open house style showing or anything like that, they'd rather be able to just do it from a distance and see the property. It's definitely cut our in-person showings down a lot.
Yeah, and there's already a trend moving towards, we work with a lot of military, that people renting or even buying property sight unseen, and then the whole COVID thing made it almost normalized, where people are willing to do that if they have the proper technology with 3D tours and things. And we know that not all companies do the 3D tours on rentals. We just find it extremely beneficial to our owners.
Yeah, definitely, especially considering the amount of military that we have moving into this area. They're moving from overseas sometimes or across the country, so having the option of not having to be here in person and wait to the very, very last second, especially in the market right now, to find a place to rent is a huge help. So we can get better quality applicants and tenants in the door because of the fact that they can do it from a distance.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so we get a property online, and it hits all the websites with the 3D tours, the movies, the professional photos, and then you start getting calls or emails.
Yes.
Like
both.
Okay.
A lot.
A lot. Like how many?
Probably 20-ish per day on each property. Just phone calls, not emails.
All right.
That on top.
Right. Okay. So then when they call or email, that's one of the first opportunities we have to vet that tenant, right? And we'll talk about how there's 3 different things that we do to vet the tenant 3 different times. And this is the first moment. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, they're wanting to know certain things about the property, but you're wanting to know certain things about them. What kind of questions are you asking in general?
Kind of general things like why they're moving to the area.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big reason to kind of get a gauge for what reasoning they're having to move, and see if they're going to be long-term, short-term tenants. Some owners prefer, different aspects of that, and for properties need a different basis.
Right.
We also have if they have pets or not, and what I don't even know, just different things. We kind of just make it a conversation just to get to know them, where they work, things like that.
Income level, things. Yeah, okay, so good. So you're asking it takes time to ask these questions and to convey the information. About how much time are you spending on each phone call or email?
Oh gosh, 5 to 10 minutes at a minimum, depending on how long the conversation goes with each person. Some people are much more talkative than others.
Right. And so as all these are coming in, I remember you saying, maybe 20 different calls on each one. And so I start doing the math in my head, 10 minutes per, it's a lot of time to shift through all these calls.
Definitely.
Okay. So, and so keep that in mind. It's a job. It's a job to just field these phone calls and things. So, and thank you for doing such a good job with that. So now, as these phone calls or emails come in, you do these initial talking through with them. And then what's the next step? They either do or they don't want to look at the property. If they do, then what does that look like?
So if they do want to see the property in person, then we will schedule it. So we arrange for a time that works for mine and their schedule, and we will go together and see the property and let them walk through and kind of see and touch everything and see what they think at that time. I kind of typically stand there, and while they're looking around at the property, I'm watching them. So that other vetting process that we were talking about, where you kind of see what they look like and see if they look like they're going to be good tenants for that property.
And just, are they responsible? How do they keep their vehicle, right? Yeah. So that might give a clue as to how they keep the house. Yeah, good. Okay, so then that's the second part of the vetting process. Then what comes next? After that, they say, okay, we like it. Whether they've seen it or not, they say, we like it. We want to make application. What does that look like?
We give them the online application. So we'll send them to the website. They apply online, nice and easy. They attach all their documents that they have to show, proof of income, photo ID. If they have pets, we make sure they're licensed. All of those kind of things that we just like to see everybody have. And then we start processing it for background, credit checks, everything like that.
Right. Okay. So the application process, if they have everything right there.
Perfect. That's great. We'll send it straight to the owner and let them see if they are interested in them as a future potential tenant.
Okay, good. And if and it takes, I don't know, half an hour or so for them to complete the application if they have all the information with them?
Yeah, if they're ready to go, probably about 30 minutes or so to complete it, and then it'll send it to us to review, and then there's an online system somewhere in between that sends it back to them to approve that we're going to do a credit and background check and things like that. So they get a couple chances to discuss that.
Okay, well, that sounds good. So then you approach the owner.
Yes.
Okay, and you say, we have an application. What do you say? I mean, just...
yes or no.
And
then hopefully it's a yes, and then we've got our person, and we go with our day, and we get them to sign a lease, and everybody's happy.
Good, yeah. And so then you process the lease. It's done by electronic signature, so nobody has to show up anywhere. And then that generally takes about how long to get the lease ready for electronic signature?
Probably 30 minutes or so. Our process kind of helps put everything together. The only thing that is probably a little bit more time consuming is making sure that each individual property has all of the additional addendums that are needed. So if there's an HOA for the property, we've got that. If they have pets, we've got that. If there's a pool, there's one for liability, or hurricanes in Florida, and those kind of things.
And in some cases, it might take a little bit of back and forth between the different parties to make sure everybody is agreeable to all the terms on the lease, and so it might take maybe a day or so from application, maybe a couple days even, from application to acceptance, and then leases able to be sent out. Yeah,
typically within, we'll say 2 to 3 days max, we've gone from start to finish if we can help it.
Good. Well, Danielle, I sure appreciate all the work that you do in getting great tenants into the Rob Brooks Realty properties.
Thanks.
And y'all, thank you for watching. I'm Rob. This is Danielle of Rob Brooks Realty. And have a nice day.